All right, some new problems on the roads. We have Congaree Road near Air Base Road at Elm Savannah. That one is near the McIntyre Air Force Base. 77 northbound at I-26, exit number 1, a wreck there. And that wreck still 26 eastbound at 301, exit 154 near Orangeburg. That is at 5 Chop Road near the Days Inn and Roost Chicken and Biscuits. Your weather outlook for today, well, it's going to be relatively nice, not too bad. 61 for your high, 35 for your overnight low. Tomorrow, 60, and Sunday, 65. Drop down to 53 for Monday, but rising after that all the way to 73 for Christmas Day, 74 on the 26th. This is Captain Dave.
Yeah, you can really hear that wind.
Hold the mic. I call this the Kirby Smart.
I got my play sheet.
That's right. We are here live, the early game live from the Myrtle Beach Bowl in beautiful Conway, South Carolina. Here in about shade over 30 minutes or so, our man Mike Yuva is going to hang out with us, talk about this fun bowl game and all the exciting stuff that's happening at Coastal Carolina right now. A new head coach. They got a bowl game coming up. They have a chance to take home some hardware and end their season on a high note, which you always want to do during bowl season. But for South Carolina, as we know, no bowl game, so we are completely focused towards transfer portal acquisitions and transfer portal departures. And that is where we found out yesterday that wide receiver Brian Rowe Jr. reportedly has expectations to enter the transfer portal, because again, it's not open just yet.
He's just lining up.
He's lining up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He is making sure everybody knows the intention, right?
Yep.
So yesterday we had really one of the first shoes to drop in terms of players that won't be coming back next year with Trovon Ball. Now we've got Brian Rowe Jr. at wide receiver. Now this year he caught 19 passes, 149 yards, and a touchdown. And I think a lot of people on the staff were very high on the idea of Brian Rowe Jr., like what he had as a skill set, like what he is as a receiver, but because it was a crowded wide receiver room, didn't necessarily get a ton of targets throughout the course of the year. And now with Brian Rowe transferring out, that kind of leads me to this. You still have a lot of players that were freshmen that were on that team at wide receiver. So I'm expecting Donovan Murph back. Malik Clark, I'm expecting back. I don't know about Jordan Gidron or anybody else like that. Jaden Sellers, if Lenore's is coming back, I assume Jaden is too.
That would be awkward at the
would.
at the Christmas table. Yeah.
A
what are you
little
doing for
bit.
school? I don't know. What are you doing?
He's like, yeah, Jaden, it's going to be really fun throwing passes to you again next year. And he's like, I'm not going to be here.
Why are you not wearing garter and black anymore? What are you doing?
Yeah, what's going on here? That would make him.
No, you know who's the maker of those decisions. That's Mr. and Mrs. Sellers. So they're like, we're going to one place and one place only.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't care where y'all go. It's going to be at one spot because we're not splitting time here.
No, that seems so stressful for parents to have to do that. Like,
yes.
I know Sonia and Del Curry did that all the time.
Yeah,
one would go to one game and one would go to the other, and it's usually like cross country.
Going to one spot.
Yeah, so sticking to one spot. But that leads me to this too. With Brian Rowe leaving, and we still don't 100% know what Nick Harbor's going to do next year. He can enter the transfer portal if he wants to, but I think more than likely the decision is down between entering his name in the NFL draft or coming back to school. I'm kind of leaning maybe coming back to school if Lenore's is coming back, but that's still to be determined, and that's his decision. But is the wide receiver position now a point of concern for this football team in terms of needing to add a few bodies in the transfer portal?
Oh, I don't know if it's necessarily a point of concern, but if you remember, Elijah, it was a point on my wish list, on my personal wish list. Because I talked about what I possibly wanted out of this spot, and there was somebody someone who was entering the transfer portal. And before I get to my personal bias, 6'3", 204, lots of catches, a
Good
veteran,
measurables.
all
Good
the
measurables.
measurables that you need. But East Carolina's Yannick Smith, South Carolina's own, and more importantly, Somerville's own, is reportedly entering the transfer portal. And so it could be a switch. It could be like a 1-for-1 thing. Like, you leave, you lose one, you gain one, or whatever the case is. That might be a case because Brian Rose from North Carolina, right?
He is.
So there might be something there, or whatever the case may be. So to answer that question, I do think obviously there will be people out there to land. I have my eye on a specific person. That being said, you might want to add on to it if there's best available. I don't know if you just want to get somebody just because you need to fill spots, but if there's somebody specific that you want, then you probably should go ahead and knock that down.
Oh, 100%. And there are some pretty good names from wide receivers going into the transfer portal. And he's got the lights turned out on us.
Time to go.
It is the early game in the dark. But there is one name, though. One of the nation, I think he might be the nation's leading receiver. But over at San Jose State, right, you had a wide receiver, Danny Scudero. And not the biggest player, 5'9", 174 is what he is listed as, but had 88 catches, 1,291 yards, 10 touchdowns on the season, lit it up. One of the nation's leading wide receivers. And if I do believe, he has some local ties. Previously at Sacramento State. No, he does not have Okay, I must have confused him with somebody else. However, if you can convince him to go across the country and play for you, how good of a get would that be to have a dynamic slot receiver or somebody who can get into space with an offense that is creative in the passing game, that has these wide splits? A receiver like that with those measurables that could be a really good safety valve is one that I would be awfully intrigued in with this Kendall Briles offense.
Yeah, it could be interesting. But, as you're talking, the more you think about it, if there was a room where they could lose somebody, I think it's the wide receiver room. Because I do think that's probably the most crowded room in the spot where they're going to be fighting for reps as much as possible. Like you said, with the freshman class coming in, we're still trying to find what's up with Mazio Bennett. Will he have a resurgence? So there's a lot of questions that I think could be answered in that particular room. But more important than that, I think the way I look at the transfer portal, and I would advise everybody to look at it, is do not try to figure out why, because it could be any reason. It could be money. It could be playing time. It could be I want to go home. It could be my girlfriend. I don't know, and I don't think it doesn't do us any good to try and figure out what the reason is.
Now,
once you find out, okay, cool, and then move on to the next one. I think that's probably the most sanest way to approach this, because when you get into all the conjecture about why they're leaving, I'm not sure if it actually even really matters, and we don't know why it's happening anyway.
Yes. One, it does not matter. Two, you will drive yourself crazy trying to figure it out.
If you don't have any information, which Preston, I'm not an insider. I don't have any information, so I don't purport to, and so I don't even get into the game of trying to figure out why or who or what or where. I just wish them luck and go back in the portal and look for the next one.
Question for both of you guys. Do you guys do New Year's resolutions? Is that something that you're big on?
No.
No?
Not anymore.
It's like an every other year thing. It's so inconsistent. I may be the most inconsistent when it comes to a New Year's resolution. Sometimes it pops out, and it's obvious for me that I need to do this differently in the upcoming year. But some years, I got nothing. We're just vibing going into the new year. But since this is our last live show of 2025, what are some Gamecock athletic New Year's resolutions? We'll pitch some ideas and get some of yours coming up next here in the early game. Admittedly, not a great New Year's resolution guy. I think I, like a lot of you, will have a New Year's resolution and give up on it 3 weeks in. Good at holding myself accountable for like 3 weeks, and then kind of mailing it in after that. And I don't even do one every year. However, since this is our last live broadcast of 2025, what are some Gamecock Athletic New Year's resolutions that we want to set out for these programs right now?
So I was just looking at a chart of America's top New Year's resolutions for 2026, and it's obviously the same ones. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to save more. And I'm going to eat healthier. All those types of things, all the ones that you know that everybody has. But one of these things down here was to improve my performance on my job. And I think that's one that's really interesting for the Gamecocks. I'm going to take this one. And this is, if you've been listening to the show, you know what this is. Sometimes people in the new year say, you know what? I'm going to get a new look. Okay. I'm going to present myself in a different way this year.
New year, new me.
New year, new me. And I would like the offensive line with Coach Randy Clements to tell the offensive linemen, this year we're not going to dress like slobs. We are going to tuck our shirts in. We are going to wear our uniforms properly. And that is going to be our New Year's resolution. We're going to look like somebody.
I love that. We're going to change the way we look. So I'm looking at the list right now of the top New Year's resolutions for 2026, coming in at 22%, right? I mean, this ranks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8th on the list. Reduce stress on the job. Well, reducing stress on the fan base too.
Yes.
The way South Carolina, especially again football, lost some games this year is brutal. It's brutal. We've talked several times about the games that you were either leading going into the fourth quarter as a one-score game in the fourth quarter. Men's basketball this year, or technically last season, but in 2025, you had that lead against the soon-to-be national champion Florida Gators, lost it late on a Will Richard layup as time was expiring. You lost a game by Auburn down at the near the buzzer. A lot of close losses last year. Got to reduce the stress on the fan base because those fourth quarter tight games or the second half of basketball tight games, stressful, absolutely stressful. And then I'll add one for baseball too, because baseball's only a couple months away. The arms, velocity, get more velocity, right? Instead of exercising more, I will say add a little more velocity to your pitching staff. One thing Paul Maneri did talk about a lot last year was the thing that took him by surprise when he came back into the SEC is how many pitchers were topping 95, 96.
He's like, whoa, what's going on here?
I can't even see the ball. I'm throwing so fast. Throwing over the mountains over there. Quarter mile. But adding some of those arms yourself, quite literally, SEC baseball is an arms race. Participate in that arms race and get it to where you can start turning around that program, because we know we're sitting on Coastal Carolina's campus. We're sitting on the campus of a school that finished national runner-up to LSU. Made all the way to the finals of the College World Series. That is a place that this fan base is starving to get back to.
Along the lines of reducing stress on the job, maybe Shane will take a more zen approach on the sidelines instead of losing his cool on various moments. I think last year, and it goes back to the Citrus Bowl. I think it started with the Citrus Bowl.
I agree.
And I don't know if it ever ended.
Tightly wound.
It really did seem like, because I don't remember that early in his tenure here. But boy, it seems like that Citrus Bowl, like a fuse was lit, and there's a really long wick.
It was just burning all year,
yes.
And he just could not. It felt like there were times where I felt like, hey Shane, come on, we gotta step out of it. And he would just kind of like be like a dog with a bone sometimes. So maybe that's Shane's resolution for this year. I'm going to speak my piece, and I'm going to move forward.
Yes, So for me, I have a book recommendation for Shane. I love to read, and I love giving book recs, and I love receiving book recs. The Last Season, A Team in Search of Its Soul by Phil Jackson. And if you want some Zen, there is no better avenue to get that than the Zen Master himself. It is a fantastic book. He wrote it while they were going through the 2004-2005 season, or 2003-2004 season, which was supposed to be his last year. LOL, it was not. But throughout that entire season, he had to deal with Kobe and his sexual assault trial in Colorado. Shaq showing up to training camp way overweight. Shaq and Kobe hating each other. Oh, yeah, and they added 2 other guys that are a little polarizing in NBA locker rooms, Gary Payton and Karl Malone. So Phil Jackson had to balance all of that. And that entire book is basically a memoir of how he was able to at least get them to come together to win 58 games and get to the NBA Finals, where they ultimately got beaten black and blue by the Detroit Pistons. But they were able to get to the NBA Finals despite all of the dysfunction that happened in that locker room. And Phil Jackson did it without losing his mind. So I highly recommend for Shane Beamer. One of my favorite books. I'll even lend it to you because I still have it on my shelf.
It's dog eared. A couple copies.
I was going to say, yeah.
Make sure you write your name in it, though, because I would hate for him to abscond with the book.
Yeah. That's right, because it is a great book. It is a great book. The last season, A Team in Search of Its Soul by Phil Jackson. A lot of good team bonding and what not to do in team bonding lessons from that book.
Talk about managing egos. Whoa.
Managing egos. And poor Stava Medvedenko in that game, former center for the Lakers. Phil just ripped him that entire book. Not because of anything he did personally, because he didn't think he was a good basketball player. That poor guy caught so many strays. Hour number 2 coming up next, and we will pose the question for the college football playoff. Which coaches are under the most pressure? Well, we'll answer that coming up next.
All right, looking at several problems. Still have that one out on 26 near Orangeburg, 301, exit 154. That's 5 Chop Road. By the day's end, the right exit ramp is closed there. We also have a wreck Congaree Road near Air Base Road at Elm Savannah and 77 North at I-26, exit number 1. A wreck there. Weather outlook for today, not too bad overall. 61 for a high. Windy, though, at times, up to 17 miles an hour. Also, tomorrow, 60 for a high. Lots of sunshine, less wind. 65 for your Sunday, so not bad then. And then Monday, 53. Tuesday, 62. Wednesday, 69. Christmas Day, 73. Won't be a white Christmas this year. That is guaranteed. This is Captain Dave.
Hour number 2 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. We are live from the Myrtle Beach Bowl, brought to you by Integrated Media. Kennesaw State and Western Michigan, the Conference USA champ versus the champion of the MAC, going to go toe-to-toe here in Brooks Stadium, which is just right behind us if you're watching on YouTube. I'm pointing to it. The stadium's right over there. I trust my arm. I could throw a baseball to where the stadium is. I think if I stretched, warmed up properly, that way I don't tear a rotator cuff or anything like that, I could hit that side of the bleachers there, the near side. That's how close we are. A baseball's throw away.
It's great complex. It really is. Like Preston said, everything's right here.
It is.
Yeah. Just a nice span.
Yeah, it's very nice. Of course, that game is kicking off at 11 o'clock this morning. But I posed the question before we went to break. Before we get into the segment, too, I must apologize to Stanislav Medvedenko for a Freudian slip to end all Freudian slips, because I definitely, as a 9-year-old, nicknamed him Stanislav Medvedenko, and I actually accidentally referred to him by that name at the end of the last segment. I was talking about how Phil Jackson was throwing shade, and I subliminally threw more shade than Phil Jackson ever did. Sorry, Stan, if you're in the Ukraine and you're listening right now, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to. Or did I? I don't know. I'm not bitter. He's soft. But
he's probably not listening this morning, so you're okay.
Yeah, I think I'm off the hook. Nobody tell him. But I posed the question earlier because it's a really good article in The Athletic from Ralph Russo about the pressure of certain college football playoff coaches, right? He's got the college football playoff pressure gauge and asks which of these 12 head coaches needs to win the most. And I found this list to be really interesting. And I think I agree with number 1, which is Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, right? If he's at any other school and you take his resume the first 2 years of leading that program, 9-3, just missing out in the college football playoff, 10-2, going to the SEC championship game, losing to a team that won your conference the year prior, but also getting into the college football playoff. I think that would be enough for most fans to be like, you know what, 2 thumbs up, sign us up for that, right? You got us in the playoff. You got us to the SEC title game. That's pretty good. But it does seemingly feel like because he is the head coach at Alabama, that pressure is ramped up a whole lot more for him than it would be if he was the head coach quite literally anywhere else.
Yeah, Bama's a pressure cooker, man. Those people are certifiably nuts, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you win because they don't really care about winning a game. They care about winning the championship, the national championship. And so you've had coaches that have gone there and they're like, man, you know, like there's been several coaches who have done solid by a lot of different standards, but not to the Bama standard. And also, it doesn't help that they see Nick Saban on TV every day.
Nope.
They get reminded of the good old days because, you know, the good old days for Saban are a little bit removed from when he left.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, or we're now years into that.
Right. And so it is a difficult spot. But Kalen, you knew the job when you took it. I don't know if you knew how, pressure cooker it was going to be, but he knew that job was going to be tough. So he is under a tremendous amount of pressure.
A tremendous amount. And Nick Saban, as great as he was, what his record is as a partial owner of the Nashville Predators? They're 0-1. When was the last time Nick Saban's been 0-1?
Kalen DeBoer has to win a first-round game at least, right?
Especially, and here's what, exactly. Especially given the circumstances of who they're playing tonight. They're playing Oklahoma. He's 0-2 against Oklahoma as the head coach at Alabama already. They've already played them once this year and lost. And honestly, when you look at that game, it wasn't like Oklahoma just marched up and down the field. Alabama shot themselves in the foot the same way they did last year when they played in Norman, right? Jalen Milroe threw a couple of pick sixes that defined that game. And what does Ty Simpson do at a crucial point in the game? Throws a pick six to Eli Bowen. And that completely turns the game on its head. And despite outgaining Oklahoma in every single category on offense, it didn't matter because you made the crucial mistakes that cost you that game. If anything, you can look at these two teams, and I can say that I trust Alabama more to be able to win the game, but do I trust them to be able to win a game against that defense, considering the last two times we've seen them play that defense, they couldn't avoid shooting themselves in the foot? I don't know. But if he loses this game, not only is it a first-round bounce in the college football playoff, it's him being 0-3 against one specific SEC newcomer. And I think a lot of Alabama fans would not take kindly to that at all. At all. With Ralph's list, too, where I don't maybe necessarily agree, is that he's got Joey McGuire number 2 at Texas Tech. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10 on a pressure scale, I'd say Joey McGuire is at like a 4 because they're going to love him at Texas Tech. Look, they funnel a lot of money into that program. They dominated the Big 12, and I think that team is good enough to be able to win a game or two, right? I mean, they'll play Oregon more than likely in the quarterfinal. They're built to be able to beat a team like Oregon. If they don't do it, I couldn't consider this season a failure.
Yeah, and those people haven't been spoiled enough to really feel like, oh, if we lose in the first round,
right,
we haven't had a failure season. They're enjoying this newfound success. This is all new to them, so they're still extremely happy about being in this situation. Maybe in a couple years if they get there. Also, another big point I think is really important about Texas Tech to note, a majority of that money comes from one person.
Yeah.
And so I'm serious about this. The people don't really feel like they are getting squeezed.
No,
they just got a dude that's giving all the money. So it's like, this is great.
Right.
When the cup is getting passed, when the plate is getting passed around, everybody in the stadium, you might feel like, hey, we need to get something done. But while the big dog got it, hey, you got the check? Another appetizer, please, or another, whatever.
Yes. Oh, we need to drill one more hole in the ground and get some oil so we can get a new offensive line. Okay, yeah, let's do it.
So I don't agree with that because I think they're still in the phase of we're just happy to be here.
And if I had to make any adjustments, he's got Mike Elko at 3, Ryan Day at 4, Dan Lanning at 5. I would leapfrog Dan Lanning over Mike Elko and Ryan Day.
Well, because your phrase about Dan Lanning is
he's going to get him one day.
But how long does that last? Does one day need to happen sometime soon?
I think probably within the next 3 or 4 years, right? Or at least get yourself to a national title game because last year they went one and done. And they were phenomenal last year. And when it came to this time, we were sitting here on December 19th, 2024. I was proudly proclaiming I thought Oregon was going to win the national championship. I firmly believed that. And they got completely ran over by Ohio State in that Rose Bowl, right? I think this team, maybe not as loaded as last year's team, but they take care of business. I think Dante Moore might actually end up being a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel. So maybe you've upgraded at the position at quarterback. You're going to have maybe definitely an easier first-round matchup, but once you get back to the quarterfinals, I think this year's Texas Tech team, as good as I think they are, and as many NFL dudes they have on that defense, I would still rather play this year's Texas Tech team than last year's Ohio State team in the quarterfinal. You got to at least get to the semifinals or the championship if you're Dan Lanning this year.
So in the article it says, it makes a comparison to Kirby. Kirby didn't win one until year 6.
Yes,
that would give Dan Lanning 2 more years.
Yeah. Does
he need to get that done in 2 more years?
I think so.
Okay.
Or else he will get the James Franklin tag of, can't win the big one. He'll be the Big Ten's newest James Franklin.
But see, the pressure in Oregon is not the same as the pressure in Bama.
No.
I mean,
it's more akin to what it would be like at Texas Tech. You have one real big money donor, right? Papa Phil Knight is funding the entire thing, and Nike money is providing you with all the athletes, all the gear, all the cool stuff, all the stadium renovations.
I mean, they had Grateful Dead uniforms this year. You think they're not that crazy about college football, are they? You know what I'm saying? Like, they got other things on
They're not Alabama crazy. Right. How about that, right?
Yeah, they like it, but
And he'll have that job. Honestly, he'll have that job as long as he wants. Even if he only averages 9 or 10 wins a year, like moving forward, I think it might take him a while to be able to pull the trigger there.
9 or 10 wins a year.
Jen's like, that would be great. That would be fantastic. But would we say that Ryan Day's under more pressure? I mean, the guy just won a national title last year. I don't think I'd put him in the top 5 of this list.
Well, yeah, in the article, again, this is a really interesting article. If you want to read The Athletic, it's about the pressure to coaches. But they basically mentioned the idea that Ryan Day beat Michigan.
Yep, he got checked.
Now, given what we now know about what was going on at Michigan,
Are Ohio State fans putting an asterisk next to that because of everything that's going on at Michigan?
Maybe they weren't necessarily as focused on the game as they should have been, but he did beat Michigan, so I think he can breathe a little bit.
Yeah, I think that element of it is going to be alleviated, to say the least. But one thing I didn't really notice until reading this article too, as good as Ohio State's been, they haven't won the Big Ten in 5 years. This is 2020.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that.
Because Michigan three-peated.
So that's why those folks were so on edge that whole time, because even though they were winning 10, 11 games, they weren't winning the Big Ten, they weren't winning national championships, and they weren't beating Michigan. That's 0 for 3.
That's right. Yeah, and Ohio State got to at least do 2 out of 3.
We got to do something.
Meatloaf said 2 out of 3 ain't bad. You got to at least be able to get 2 out of 3 in that type of scenario.
I got a sleeper here, Pete Golden. I think there's some pressure on Pete, man, because he was crowned as the coach.
Uh-huh.
They have to go out and show that he can do this moving forward, because if he goes out there and they get washed, there's going to be a contingent, even though they don't like him, they're going to be like, man, I wish Lane was here. What if Lane was here?
Because he was given the keys to a Lamborghini right now. This is a team that's 11-1. The offense is one of the best in the country. The defense did improve over the course of the season, right? It's not their strong suit, but it improved over the course of the season. And for Pete, too, not wrecking this Lamborghini is like the perfect introduction into coaching, because it's a good tryout. They're not just like the Ole Miss brass in the suits aren't just watching this game because it's the college football playoff. They're watching what Pete Golding does and how he handles being in this moment, and whether or not they can trust him whenever it comes time to making an even longer term decision on him.
Yeah, and I just think it's a little bit of folly just to think that because he's been a defensive coordinator, all of a sudden he can just move up and become a head coach in a week.
In an SEC school.
Right.
It's different muscles that he hasn't trained or he doesn't have. We're gonna find out, but
he's gonna find out in the college football playoff.
That's trial by fire, dog. And this is no slight to him, because he may be able to be a head coach, but it's just the turnaround is so fast. It'll be interesting.
My underrated one here, because he's at 9 on this list, 9 out of 12. So according to Ralph, not a ton of pressure here, but I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, this guy is at like an 8. Mario Cristobal. Because here's the deal. You got fortunate because you end up losing 2 games in the middle of the season against Louisville and SMU on the road. That if you didn't beat Notre Dame at the beginning of the year, might have kept you out of the college football playoff, right? Their fate was in the committee's hands, and the committee overlords left them with the college football playoff and a chance to go to Texas A&M. This is a team that Miami's had aspirations, not just making the CFP, but advancing it. You got to be able to have a really good showing at College Station, because we know he can recruit, right? The guy can sell anything to a recruit and get a talented football player in a talent-rich part of the country on campus. But he's had so many in-game follies, whether it's not taking a knee against Georgia Tech and losing that game at home, or finding a way to lose that Louisville game like they did earlier this year, or not managing the clock really well against SMU. There's a lot of question marks about how Mario Cristobal is as a game-managing coach. And if that's proven correct at the biggest stage, Miami's going to have to come to a point where is the way he recruits more beneficial to us than the way he manages the game.
Can he beat the Chargers?
Yes.
God forbid something comes down to a late game situation where he has
clock
to manage the
management.
clock and all these types of things happen, and then all of a sudden people are running with the narrative that in a lot of cases has been true for him on a big stage where everybody can see it. You know, that's the sort of kind of idea of the pressure that he's under, is that he has this story that follows him around, and you don't want it to come up now.
No, you absolutely do not. Coming up next, it's the morning meeting. This is not going to be as pressure packed because our pal Mike Yuva, friend of the show, friend of Gamecock Athletics, he's here in Coastal Carolina right now. He helped hook us up with a spot in between the baseball and the football stadium. Mike's going to join us next to talk about what it was like with the coaching search, his thoughts on Gamecock football, and a couple of the G5 schools in the playoff that he is very familiar with. We'll hang out with Mike coming up next.
Hey, are you looking for a countertop for a kitchen or a bath? If you want to do some updating in your yard, well, the place to go is Carolina Stone Craftsman, just outside Columbia in Chapin. I'm telling you, they do understand kitchen and bath projects. They can really be a significant investment, and they work really hard to deliver the highest quality, most affordable granite, marble, and quartz while still providing the best customer service. Absolutely simple. Great countertops with no compromises. When we were redoing a couple of bathrooms, needed countertops, we really weren't sure what we were looking for, but they helped educate us and make those decisions, and we couldn't be more thrilled. And every step of the process was absolutely fantastic. So if you're in the market for countertops for your kitchen or bath, I really do reach out or encourage you to reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman. Tell them Jen Jensen sent you. They're family owned and operated just beyond Columbia and Chapin, beyond your expectations. Check them out online, carolinastonecraftsman.com.
fairtradesc.com.
All right, a couple of problems out at I-77 and I-26. On I-26 eastbound at I-77, we have a wreck there, and the two left-hand lanes are moving slowly, and the highway patrol is underneath the overpass there in the emergency lane. So get over. It is the law. It looks like everybody pretty much is obeying that particular law. So do get over and leave at least the lane there between you and them. Charleston Highway near I-26. An accident there. All three of these are right together. So big problems along through there. Congaree Road near Airbase Road. Garner's Ferry at Old Eastover. And also 26 East at 301 out in Orangeburg. The right exit ramp is blocked at that location. Your high for today about 60 degrees. Tomorrow about the same. Lots of sunshine. Mostly sunny all the way through Christmas, with a high of 73 Christmas Day.
If you're watching on the YouTube stream, you'll see it. Look who has joined the party. My man, Mike Yuva, now here in an administrative role, manning the communications here. Before we get to talk to Mike, Dave, let's play that morning meeting sounder.
Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day. Let's go.
Yeah, it will.
Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day.
Of course it is, because our pal Mike has joined.
Mike.
These days, I tell you, they'll let anyone on.
That's right. We assumed this was Mike Yuva. It could be one of the many Mike Yuva impersonators that make a lot of money coming around here and doing Mike Yuva impersonations. You know how like people do Elvis impersonators
If that's the case, I mean,
in Vegas?
people really need to step up their game.
They got to get better at it, but it does not stop them from doing that. It does not stop them at all. But Mike, you've had an incredible couple weeks here, because you got to be part of a coaching search a little bit. You got to be inside the walls of looking for a new head coach. You guys hire former Missouri State coach Ryan Beard. How have things been like here so far in these last couple weeks in the middle of that search?
Hectic. You know, it's crazy. I remember the beginning of this process when we were making a coaching change, talking with Chance, and he's like, "What's it like being on this side of it?" And I told him, I said, "It's hectic." I said, but I can recall, and it's ironic that I bring up the name Will Muschamp. Obviously, the news yesterday with him becoming the defensive coordinator at Texas, as if it's 15 years ago, 18 years ago, whatever the year it was.
Is he the head coach in waiting?
I know, right? Finally, he's going to get his break down in Texas. No, but I told him, I said, I remember when we were searching for that, to break that news, when I was still at Watch Fox, and I said just how hectic that was. But being on the other side of it, having the conversations with him, it was, okay, what do we need to do to make sure that this news doesn't go out? It's kind of like,
I was just thinking it's like cops and robbers.
Well, yeah.
You used to be the robber.
It's kind
now
of,
you're the cop.
And I said this to some people, and I may have made this analogy to either him or Andy Hughes, our deputy athletic director, who also came from South Carolina. I said it's kind of like a prisoner that knows how to break out of jail.
Right.
It's like, all right, this is what you got to watch out for. These are the people that you don't want to tell.
Yeah.
Because from a reporter standpoint, those are the people that I'd be trying to get the information from.
Yeah, you hire the hackers to secure your system.
And I told Elijah that, you know, especially being on this side and seeing the importance of why you don't want information to leak out. And at some point, it's going to, right? You're going to get down toward, it's kind of like a game of guess who, right? You know, does this guy have a beard? You know, no pun intended with this one, right? But
yeah, well played.
You're going through. You don't want the information to get out so that it doesn't impact if another team's interested in them. right?
Yes.
Because they might have an idea and, then they're throwing more money, whatever the case may be. So as a department, we did a phenomenal job as a department of keeping it in-house. And I know that was something that Chance brought up the other day doing an interview. And I'm sure when you guys talk to him, you can bring that up. But, like, seeing how important it truly is, because it didn't hurt us is what I'm trying to get at.
Exactly. And ultimately, you guys got your guy. And you're a football guy. You are very entrenched in these coaching circles. What is the coaching world reputation of Ryan Beard, and what do you like about what he's able to bring to a school like Coastal Carolina?
I think the big thing with him is he has the experience of being a head coach. And I think in this era, having that experience and understanding what it's like to be the CEO, right? I mean, I think back to when Shane Beamer became head coach of South Carolina, and he said many, many times before, it's like, all right, yes, his father, Frank, legendary college football coach. Yes, he worked with a lot of, very talented head coaches. But until you're actually in that seat, you truly don't know. I mean, I've had that conversation with our interim head coach, Jeremiah Johnson, and we were talking about that and just going through the media responsibilities and some of the things. And he kind of joked. He's like, man, I've only been doing this for like a week. He's like, it's incredible to the things that you don't see when you're a coordinator or a positional coach, wherever the case may be. So I think that's the biggest thing is what he was able to do at Missouri State and bringing them from an FCS program up to FBS. They were playing in a bowl game last night, 7 wins in that first year as an FBS head coach. I think that's the big thing. And he has the energy. He understands the importance of getting out into the community and just the things that you have to do in this era with NIL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, significantly. It's not just coaching the football. And one thing that is going to be a challenge for him is you're in a conference with James Madison. James Madison is in the college football playoff. They're playing at Oregon. You are very familiar with James Madison's program and Coach Chesney. That was a really good team this year. What did you like about James Madison in terms of what they've kind of become and being kind of the standard bearer of the Sun Belt right now?
So here's where I'm conflicted because that's a rival of ours,
yeah.
Right? But obviously I have tremendous respect for Bob Chesney because, like you said, I mean, that's the guy that I played for at Assumption and just seeing what he's been able to do. So I'll speak more so on the fact of what he's done. But what I will say is this. I think what it shows more than anything is that there is a lot, and I knew we were talking about this yesterday off air, there's a lot of talent in the group of 5. And I think after covering the SEC for a decade plus, even going back to my days in Mississippi, like we understand the talent in the SEC. No one's going to sit here and be like, all right, yeah, the Sun Belt has more. Like no one's going to say that. No. But I think it has been frustrating hearing some of the commentary from the national media, even guys like Nick Saban saying like, oh, they don't deserve a seat at the table. It's just like, bottom line is this. The people that made the rules. Yeah. Okay. And things went a certain way. You can blame the ACC for how they laid out their format, having their crazy tiebreakers. I mean, shoot, if they don't have a 5-way tie, Miami's playing in the college football playoff as most likely as a conference champ.
Yes.
And then Notre Dame's in. But again, we can save those popsicle headaches for another day. So I think more than anything, what it shows is, James Madison, just like a lot of the Sun Belt teams, they've done a phenomenal job of being able to accumulate talent and give people a reason to want to be there. Now, obviously, they're going to go through a coaching change. They're going to have Billy Napier come in there. We're going through a coaching change ourselves. But I think there's a lot of talent in this conference. And the other reason I'd point to that and say is, like, look at what's happening at not just SEC schools, ACC, Big Ten. A lot of the players from the Sun Belt schools are getting poached from bigger schools. So let's not act like there's not talent here, because you can't have it both ways. Either there's talent here or there's not.
Yeah, and I think there might not have been a more insulting comment made in the world of sports yesterday than Nick Saban saying, you don't let AAA teams play in the World Series.
Which is crazy because we're all playing on the same level. It's FBS.
It's all FBS.
It's FBS.
You didn't put yourself in FBS.
No, it's not like, it's not like the, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think of the.
And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Duke lose to some FBS teams this year?
They lost to Tulane, who was in the college football playoff.
It's not like the Pawtucket Red Sox are playing the New York Yankees in the regular season. Like, come on, Nick.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect, obviously, for, arguably the greatest college football coach of all time. And if there was ever going to be a college commissioner, it feels like he should be the guy. But after a comment like that, it's like, what are we doing? It makes me want to see the James Madisons of the world, the Tulanes of the world this weekend give a run for because now what happens? You watch how quickly the national media with the goalposts and how much they move around afterwards. If God forbid, never mind if they can win, but God forbid they make it interesting this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, you'll see stuff move. And of course, if they get blown out, that's going to be the narrative, even though blowouts happen in the college football playoff against Power 4 teams on Power 4 teams. That's nothing new to postseason sports in general. Blowouts just happen. Mike, what are your thoughts on Kirk Cousins?
I think he's going to make a lot more money when his playing days are done as an analyst.
You know what? I tend to agree, but Kurt might be one of the few people who his ceiling is so high about how much money he's made. I don't know if he can make any more money.
Oh, he'd be taking might be taking a pay cut because that man has made a lot of money. But what Mike said in terms of being an analyst, 100% true, because Kirk said something really insightful this week, and I wanted to get our thoughts on that. So we'll hear what Kirk Cousins had to say that got a lot of folks in the NFL thinking coming up next year in the early game.
I'm still looking at those problems out on I-77 and I-26 where they come together, one on 77, one on 26, and also one on Charleston Highway near I-26. So all those three causing problems in those areas. We do have a wreck too at Garners Ferry Road at Old Eastover, Congaree Road at Air Base Road. The weather outlook for today, 61 for a high. But by Christmas Day, 73 for your high. This is Cabernet.
All season long, we were doing segments called Professor P, where Preston would break down at a very granular level certain things going on with South Carolina Gamecock football. But I just so happened to come across an Ian Rappaport tweet where it's a clip from a Kirk Cousins press conference here this week. And we might have our first ever rendition of Professor Kirk. Well, Kirk breaks down how the passing game in the NFL in terms of reading defenses has evolved. Now, it's going to get really into the weeds, but I think there's a lot that we can take from this discussion into a larger picture of NFL quarterback development. If you don't mind, go ahead and playing that for us, Dave. Do you see Preston over here, Mike? He was getting tingly. Breaking it down.
It's because when it comes to offensive football, when it comes to defensive football, I'm like 400 level classes, right? But there's dudes that you start with defensive football, and they're like, I'm when you get in coverages and split coverages and all that type of stuff. I'm like, all right, man, I don't have time for that. But offensive football, I'm like 201.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like
a couple steps back.
And so sometimes when you hear quarterbacks start really getting into it, you just again realize how deep the game goes and how much processing is happening every single time they drop back. And it's really amazing that even if anything happens on the play.
Right. How does anything happen?
Yeah, when you hear it broken down like that, it's crazy.
It pretty much tells me like how much a quarterback's brain has to be a supercomputer. And it is amazing what goes into being an NFL quarterback. And to me, like people talk all the time about, oh, the NFL's got a quarterback development problem. And there are examples that maybe can lead you to believe there's a quarterback development problem. But also, if you listen to Kirk right there, the game has changed and defenses have gotten so ahead of the game, too, in terms of disguising what they're doing, that for somebody coming out of college and getting thrown into that, where they might be coached like Kirk was at Michigan State. Like, okay, we're cutting the field in half. This is the read, right? And it's a lot more simplified. You get to the league, and then it's everything that Kirk just laid out about you have to go through these progressions so fast. And I think that might be an explanation as to why. Maybe it's not a quarterback development problem. Maybe it's just that offenses are a little behind of defenses right now because the defensive coordinators have stepped their game up.
I also think, too, depending on where some of these QBs are coming out of for high school, we see this with college guys, right? I mean, how many times over the last couple of years have we seen, especially it goes back and forth, but you're seeing more NFL coaches coach in the college ranks. We're seeing more pro-style offenses, and you need to be able to do these things now more than ever, right? Offenses at the college level getting more complex. Now, this is me going back to my Gamecock Central days, and we obviously saw that a lot over at South Carolina the first couple of years, whether it be Marcus Satterfield, right? We went to Dow Loggins, and just the challenges at first in understanding that. How many times do we say, streamlining it or simplifying, whatever the case may be, to try to make it more simple? At the end of the day, though, it's not as simple as just going out there and saying, okay, how you would call it in high school is how you're going to do it in college, because we know at this level, especially with all the technology, the extra support staff members, what they're doing, breaking down the film, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, guess what? You're not going to be able to move the football. So you have to have it complicated, but at the same time, too, you still want to be able to put your guys in the best position to succeed.
It reminds me of teaching, when we talk about this is any teachers out there, alert. But there's all these conversations about how do you teach people how to read. And when they were learning, they're saying that a lot of the kids were losing skills of how to read because they were teaching them essentially a more streamlined version of how to read, where you look at the word, you look at the picture, and you figure out what it is. But the old school folks are like, no, we need phonics. You need to be able to sound out the letter, because when you get to these bigger, longer words, you're going to need that skill. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like that's the same thing he's saying. Like college coaches found a way to streamline it for college coaches, for college players. But then when it got to the NFL, they're like, well, what do I do with this? And they're like, I don't know, man. Figure it out. So you hear these conversations a lot of times. And right now the defenses might have a little bit of the upper hand. That's why you don't see a lot of the 4,000-yard passers in the NFL right now. It's kind of the good guys are winning right now, I should say.
as a defensive guy. Do you think, too, from an offensive standpoint, because I hear this is something, especially after covering the NFL the last couple of years of Patriots, a lot of the coaches that I spoke with, and I'm not saying every coach agrees with this, but I feel like a lot would, because you're seeing more players hop around in the college ranks, they're not getting coached the same exact way. They're learning learning different. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, there's still going to be, the nuts and bolts of it, but there's so much different verbiage now. So when they get to the NFL, they've been coached multiple ways. It's almost like a wrestler, right? A pro wrestler, they say it's better sometimes when they don't have any background, because you don't have to go through all this stuff and kind of teach them over again and develop, they develop some bad habits. You're trying to get away from that. You're able to start like with a clean canvas. So I wonder, too, when they get to the NFL with all these other verbiage and they're trying to just figure out how much of a challenge it is for the guys around the QB. Do they try to simplify it because of the other guy? These are just things that go through my mind because of the things that are happening at the college ranks and how it's impacting the NFL.
It certainly makes
because that's a veteran guy like Kurt.
Yeah, who's been, more than a decade now.
And veteran in the league. You veteran plus.
I was going to say he's super veteran at this point. And really the big winner in that clip to me, Drake May, because he's this good this early. in that type of environment against those defenses, and he probably reads them out as well as anybody because he just doesn't make a ton of mistakes. I mean, Drake May's impressive already, but listening to that and thinking about how tough that transition is only makes me more impressed with Drake May. Mike Uva, appreciate your time as always, my man. Thanks for helping us get set up, and thanks for chatting with us.
Real quick, Drake May, brother-in-law, our starting quarterback, Tad Hudson here.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
He was on that North Carolina team, not to bring back bad memories when Drake played South Carolina, but before he transferred over here. So, yeah.
Your fun Coastal Carolina fact of the day.
There you go.
Good stuff. That's Mike Uva. Coming up next, we'll do our college football playoff fantasy draft. We'll explain next. All right. Sorry for the delay, folks. Woo! Your boy got his sweat in this
Woo!
morning. Oh, man.
When you're on the road, Elijah, you got to pack your togetherness, you got to pack your patience, and you got to do it all because it's a road game.
Woo!
You never know what's going to happen,
Hey,
but my boy came through.
Adversity will always strike, right? It's not a matter of if adversity strikes, it is a matter of when adversity strikes. We had a little technical difficulty. Shout out to Captain David Dare for buying us a little additional time because we needed it. But that's what we do on the road. We adapt because we are live here in Myrtle Beach, brought to you by Integrated Media for the Myrtle Beach Bowl. And a fun one here today, Kennesaw State, Western Michigan. And because of those technical difficulties, we will save the draft for the next segment. And I'll give you a little primer of what we're going to do. I've got a point system. We're going to draft teams, Preston, Jen, and I. And here's the scoring system. You get 1 point for a first round win. You get 2 points for a quarterfinal win. 3 points for a semifinal win. 4 points if you win the whole thing. Now, for full transparency, I will show Preston the draft order results. I did a random simulated draft order. So Jen will have the first pick starting in the next segment. Jen will pick first, followed by me, then Preston, and then Preston. It'll be a snake draft, so Preston will get picks 3 and 4, then back to me, and then Jen, and so on and so forth until all three of us have 4 teams coming into this.
I like it.
I've got my strategy already in place. Whichever I've got 2 teams that I prefer for my first. Whatever Jen does not pick, I will have ready.
Okay.
So
we going?
Oh, that's what we're going to do to kick off hour number 2.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, this is going to be fun. I love doing stuff like this. Last time I did something like this was with Jay Phillips, the College World Series, and I got my butt kicked. So today is where the redemption tour can happen. Hour number 3 coming up. We'll draft college football playoff teams, talk to Coastal Carolina Athletic Director Chance Miller, and a whole lot more as the early game is live here at Myrtle Beach ahead of the Myrtle Beach Bowl. The holidays. It's coming up fast. And here in December, you're going to be hosting a lot of different things. You're going to be hosting Christmas parties, New Year's Eve parties. Family's going to be coming over. That's a lot of stress, right? Along with the stress of just getting gifts for your loved ones here this Christmas season. My friends at Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning are here to alleviate some of that stress for you by helping you get a clean home by using their zero water technology, which is a non-toxic, safe for people, pets, and the planet cleaner. Leaves no soap, no residue, just soft, fluffy carpets that stay clean longer. And for the promotion this month, you can secure your holiday cleaning with $40 per room. And to make the gift even bigger, once you schedule 3 rooms, you can get a staircase for just $1. Don't wait. Head to zerorescolumbia.com online today to get your appointment.
Okay, what are y'all doing out there? 77 and 26. I mean, just all morning. We now have a wreck at 77 northbound at Saxagotha exit to just a mile down the road from 26. Charleston Highway near 26. 26 at I-77. Also Killian Road at I-77. Garners Ferry at Old Eastover. We got Farrell Road at Killian Road. And in Horry County, since everyone is there this morning, State Highway 707 at Homestown Road. An accident there as well. Your weather outlook for today, high around 60 degrees. Same for tomorrow. Windy today. Sunday, 65 for a high, but Monday back to 53. And then rising steadily. Wednesday will be 69. Christmas Day, 73 degrees for your high.
The early game, hour number 3, starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. He's Mike Uva with a cell phone. And you're watching us on YouTube right now. Our man Chance Miller, the man here, athletic director for Coastal Carolina, hangs out with us. And a lot has changed. I think last time I talked to you, I was on a different show completely. Now getting up a hell of a lot earlier.
Yeah, how's that treating you?
You know what? There's like that 15-minute self-loathing period when the alarm goes off at 4 every morning. But other than that, yeah, we're living it. A lot of these things, a lot of Celsius.
I know. I was just telling Mike this is coffee number 3 for me. So there might be 3 or 4 more in the future today.
And you got a whole day to go ahead of
It's been a long 3 weeks. So
I can imagine. That's where we'll start, too, because you guys had a lot of news. And you joked with us off air, picked a great time to have a coaching search from the wildest coaching carousel that I can imagine. I try not to be a prisoner of the moment when it comes to things like this, but I can't imagine a crazier coaching carousel. But you guys got your guy.
Yeah, it was a wild carousel. And, we made the change at the end of the year after the JMU game that Sunday and walked in, told the team, and started the search right away. I mean, my phone kept blowing up, emails, calls, people wanting this job. I knew this was an attractive job. I mean, that's why I came down here 16 months ago to take this AD role. And I was shocked at how many qualified candidates we had, whether it was sitting head coaches or big time coordinators. I mean, we had to move our travel around a little bit. We thought we were going to go to Atlanta, bring everybody in, interview. There was a ground stoppage for fog in Atlanta for 6.5 hours. Can you believe that? So, so the whole travel logistics fell apart, and then had to redo it because we had coaches that are currently in the college football playoff that were interviewing for this job. So, was excited, but we got our guy. I'm really excited about Coach Beard and his family and what they're going to bring to Coastal.
Well, 2 things. One, you made it big time when you made flight tracking season. So there was
I
people
saw
tracking
that.
your flights.
Yeah, I saw that.
So we were keeping up with Where's Chance.
I think they don't realize we don't have a plane here at Coastal.
So
I wish we did.
So you made it big time when you're in flight tracking season. And the second thing, I've always wanted to ask this for ADs. Is it true that you all keep like a little thing in your back pocket of coaches that you always that's always like lore that you hear about?
There's that
ADs.
lore that you've got the list and
the
everything.
5 names in your back pocket.
You are tracking people because you never know what's going to happen, right? In this crazy world of college athletics we're in, somebody can come steal your coach, especially at this level, at the group of 5, group of 6, whatever you want to call it now. You can lose a coach pretty quickly, especially after a successful season. So you got to be ready to go. And we had actually, Andy and I, my deputy AD, had been tracking Coach Beard for a couple of years now, just looking at him, up and coming guy from FCS to FBS. And, when we interviewed him, he was actually our first Zoom interview. It just worked out that way.
Okay.
And we got off the Zoom and I looked at Andy and he looked at me and I was like, man, that's a high bar. If this is where our search is starting, it's going to be a really good one.
Yeah.
And we were excited how it turned out.
And certainly, I mean, he set a good enough impression with you. You knew the resume, right? Anybody can just Google. Like a dork like me could just pull up, Wikipedia and look at what his record was at Missouri State, the road he took to get to being a head coach. But when you look at the resume and then you get to talk to him and interact with him the way that you did during this whole process, what stood out the most that you don't get by just looking at a resume?
Yeah, I'm a big person on fit. You got to fit the area. You got to fit the personality of your donor and your fan base. And I just looked at Coach Beard, very blue collar guy. Had experience on both sides of the ball. He's a defensive guy. He played defensive back in college. But you got to have a little something to you if you're playing defensive back, right? Mm-hmm. And grew up under the defense. Really had a great defense, but grew up under Bobby Petrino and his offense, and Coach McElwain and Willie Taggart and some others. So understood, knew the offense, runs an exciting game, and then was a special teams coordinator for a couple of years. So had experience on all three sides of the ball, but I just liked what he and his family brought in terms of how they go out into the community, how they build a program, how they, graduate young men that are going to go out into the community and make this place better, right? And that's what we needed here. We needed somebody that can help grow this thing. I think people forget we're, Mike, 7-8 years removed from being FCS ourselves here. Yeah. And you look at what we've done here in the past 7 to 8 years to get to a high level of FBS in the Sun Belt, and we needed that guy that was going to come in and build it and take it even further. And I saw that with Coach Beard.
Chance Miller, the athletic director of Coastal Carolina, is on with us right now. And for reference, this is my first time being at Coastal Carolina since my sophomore year of high school in 2010 when I toured the place because I wanted to come here because I thought the place was so cool. I toured it. It's a whole lot different now. Like the entire sports complex. We can talk about it, but if you don't come here, you don't get to see how neat it is. I mean, we are a baseball's throw away from the baseball stadium and the football stadium. You guys have not just been able to build like a really cool sports complex here, but a lot of excitement of the program. Made news with free concessions, the really cool jerseys. You guys are doing a lot of outside the box stuff that just a lot of schools at this level just aren't doing.
We want to have fun here, right? We want to push the limits. You talked about the campus. We have a beautiful campus here in between 501, 544, 5 miles from the beach. We've got a great partner in the city of Myrtle Beach and the city of Conway. They really invest into here. And we've got new stuff that we've added in the football. We've got an indoor football facility that rivals anything in the Power Four. We've got a baseball stadium and a softball stadium here in TD Sports Complex that pack out every game. I mean, we're actually setting season ticket record numbers right now with baseball and softball. Our baseball team is good enough. They're going to be back in Omaha. We've got the top pitcher in the country coming back, and we're pretty loaded. We restacked. But you look around and it's not just that, it's our Olympic sports. If you go across 501, we've created a new complex over there. We opened up a new soccer facility last year. We've got a brand new tennis facility, beach volleyball, and I'm in the process. We just got phase 1 approval to go start building a track for our track team. And if you look, we got some pretty good track stars. We got the fastest woman in the world, Melissa Jefferson, who's a gold medalist. And I mean, she's flying right now, and she's homegrown talent. So you look, we've got all the ingredients for a really, really great program. And if you look at where we're at right now, fundraising, ticket sales, fan experience, adding the free concessions in, our halftime shows, I think people thought we were a little crazy. At one point, I was actually sitting up in my box and I looked down and I said, did our mascot just kill a guy with a sword?
I was going to ask you, was it like medieval knights or something like that?
Medieval times came in. We thought, all right, let's embrace the beach and the tourism. But when Chauncey killed a guy with a sword, I thought, man, maybe we've gone a little too far. So then 2 weeks later, we ramped it up and we had a Revolutionary War reenactment and people were shooting back and forth. And I was like, did anybody check these weapons?
Like, who's in charge here? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking around. I'm like, I'm wanting to talk to somebody about, did we do something? I'm like, oh man, it stops with me now. I'm gonna get fired over a Revolutionary War reenactment. But it's been fun, man. We've had some really cool viral moments. You talked about the free concessions. That video got shared 39 million times. Wow! Right, 39 million times. Our baseball run. We did a marketing study on it from earned media dollars. It was $574 million for us. For Coastal Carolina, that's great for the brand to be out there, for that logo to be out there. And if you look at our application click rate, when we were out in Omaha, it went way up. And that's a thing that right now, You look at Coastal Carolina, there's a talk about the enrollment cliff around the country, right? We have no enrollment cliff here. Our enrollment just keeps going up. Our applications are going up. People want to be a part of this, and it's an exciting brand.
Oh, it certainly is. And you mentioned the trip to Omaha. The last time I talked to you, you were on your way to Omaha, right? Obviously, you guys got so close to winning a national title, but just to have your program, a program like that on a national stage, and to get what you mentioned, all the eyeballs, all of the impressions, getting to basically display your program on national stage and play at the highest level has to do wonders for the university.
Oh, it was awesome. Just having all the national media write about Coastal. And when they write about your baseball program, they're also talking about the university, right? Where it's located, what you're offering, and you get to have all your advertisements on TV as you're going through it. It was a special moment. It really was. And that's not something that we're going to say, oh, that's a one-time thing. And it's going to be years before we get back there. We plan to be back there this year, and Coach Schnall is not hiding from that. He knows he has a good enough team to do so.
Oh, he certainly does. Chance Miller, the athletic director at Coastal Carolina, is hanging out with us right now. And then with the bowl game, too. I mean, you guys, not a lot of programs, group of 5/6 or Power 4, can say they host a bowl game every single year. What does this do for you guys, and what does this bowl game kind of bring in terms of an atmosphere to your campus?
Oh, it's great for us. I mean, you're on national television on ESPN. You get to show off your stadium. You get to show off that beautiful teal turf, and we get to advertise for all of Coastal Carolina University, but not just Coastal Carolina, but City of Myrtle Beach as well. And Visit Myrtle Beach has been a great partner for us, and it brings people to this campus that wouldn't otherwise see it.
Yeah, that's a really good point, too. That exposure is fantastic. Now, I want to see if we can get any Easter eggs here. Anything fun planned for promotions when it comes to next year? Are those still kind of in the works?
Oh, next year we're going to have some good stuff. We've already been talking about it. I can't unveil that, but I have challenged the staff with Mike and Patrick and Jake and all those guys that every single game there needs to be a viral moment. Okay. I can't control what goes on the field, right? It's 18 to 22-year-olds, right? You never know if they're going to show up or not, but we can control the experience from the time people walk in till they leave. And so there is going to be some viral moments. I think we had, Mike, 4 out of 6 games this year we went viral for something. I mean, heck, man, we have glow-in-the-dark jerseys on Halloween.
Those were awesome.
Which
were
awesome,
cool.
by the way. Cool. And I'll tell you, I was a little worried about 2 nights before we were trying to test it. Our cameras were not picking it up. And I'm like, oh, man, we've told everybody about this. This is going to go really badly. And it came down to we took A-frame Jersey Mike sign and was able to block out a little bit of light, and it picked it up. That's what made the whole thing work, right?
The huge operation.
Yeah. If you guys had seen how this or saw how the sausage is made,
that's how
just
it
shake
goes.
your head.
That's how it goes, man. So you said we're in 16th month here. This
16th month, yeah.
We talked about head coaches. We're talking about college football. We're talking about Pete Golden taking over as the head coach, and it's a little bit of the different questions. You yourself being as you were in the deputy director AD for a long time, but that's not the big chair.
Yeah.
Being in the big chair, what are some lessons that you've learned just being in your big chair?
I was very lucky. Coach Tanner blessed me with the ability to go out and do things that an AD would do, right? Launch capital projects, do bigger type things that you have to go to the state house to get approvals, and that's why they're doing the big renovation at Williams-Brice this year. Looking back on that, I was very intimately involved in that. Did that for 5 years to get that going. Fundraising, dealing with board of trustees, presidential turnover. And so there wasn't a lot that when I walked in here, I was like, oh man, I haven't seen that before. Right. I think the biggest transition for me was I wasn't a sitting AD, so I didn't have all my staff that I could just pick up, bring and take with me that knew who I was and how I operated. So when I came in here, I had to get a feel for the current staff, where they were at. We had some really good people here and still do. But they had to learn how I worked. I had to learn how they worked. And then I was piecing together additional staff that was going to take us to the next level. And I somehow convinced people like Mike to come follow me here. He's probably regretting that decision, every other morning. But I've gotten some good people to come down here, and I've surrounded myself with good people that can help me when I trip myself up.
You guys are certainly doing a fantastic job, the exposure and everything. I'm excited to get back into that stadium to check out this bowl game today. Really appreciate you having us here. Really great getting to catch up and getting to talk to you again.
Guys, it's always good seeing you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to doing it again in the future, too. That is Chance Miller, the athletic director for Coastal Carolina. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll draft college football playoff teams. Jen will lead us off, followed by me, then Preston, and we'll break all these games down. Coming up next here on the early game. It's December 19th right now, which means Christmas is right around the corner. If you have a golf lover in your life, I have the perfect gift for you. If you have not found that fun golf gift for that golf lover, I have an idea. Hit up my friends over at Pro Swing for some memberships where you can rent by the hour and you can also get lessons. They give free 30-minute swing evaluations where you can get that blueprint of your swing with a couple of pointers and drills to work on. You can take advantage of those golf zone simulators that allow you to play from anywhere, endless amounts of courses. You can do driving range mode. You can do different type of game modes. So many different things that you can do over at Pro Swing that it is so ideal for anybody in your life, whether they're a young golfer or a seasoned golfer who's been doing this for years. A Pro Swing membership is perfect for you. If that interests you, you can give them a call at 803-592-3916, or you can just go to ProSwingColumbia.com to book online and inquire about memberships.
All right, taking a quick look at the roads. Fair Road at Killian Road, an accident there. 77 north at Saxagatha, Killian Road at I-77. Also got one in Horry County out there. State Highway 707 at Holmestown Road. Your weather outlook, 60 degrees for your high today. Windy, though, 17 miles an hour. Gust a little bit higher. Tomorrow, 60 for your high. Lots of sunshine. Sunday, really nice, 65 for your high, mostly sunny skies. And then we're going to get on up through the week. Wednesday, 69, and Christmas Day, 73 degrees for your high. And Friday after that, 74. Saturday after that, 72. Very warm Christmas ahead. This is Kevin there.
Big. Almost need a trophy case for that trophy. And that's right. The early game is live from Myrtle Beach, sitting right outside Brooks Stadium. As here in about 2.5 hours, they'll be kicking it off between Kennesaw State and Western Michigan for the Myrtle Beach Bowl. But tonight, in terms of programming, Oklahoma takes on Alabama in Norman, a rematch from a game previously played in Tuscaloosa just last month. And that's going to be our first college football playoff game. But we decided here at the early game to make this a little more interesting. We are going to draft college football playoff teams. So we have a point system. So for the teams you draft, a first round win is worth 1 point. A quarterfinal win is worth 2. A semifinal win is worth 3. And the national championship is worth 4. I did a random draft simulator. So to make everybody know that I wasn't just making this up, I showed Jen and Preston. They confirmed. Jen will have pick number 1 of any team in the field, followed by me, then Preston, and we'll do a little snake order thing. So that way we can try to evenly distribute all 12 teams in the field. So Jen Jensen, you are on the clock.
Indiana.
All right.
Ooh,
Letting it fly.
I like it.
Let's go.
Jen Jensen takes Indiana, buying into the Hoosier. She says,
I am.
Kurt Signetti wins. Google him.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that's good. It's between Georgia and Ohio State for me, and this is where it's really tough. This is where it's really tough for me because Ohio State, I know what I saw in the 12 games they played this year, and I know what I saw with Georgia, what they did to Alabama in the SEC title game, and how much improved they've gotten, how improved Gunnar Stockton has become over the course of the last just couple months. Oh, you know what? Give me Kirby Smart. Give me Georgia.
Okay.
Give me the
All
dogs.
Right. All right. Okay. All right. This is when the draft really starts.
Yes.
Right. This is when the draft really starts. So
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna take Ohio State
Okay.
to give myself a security blanket. But this is the first pick of the draft.
Yes. This is when we really get into the value.
And I am going to take Mike Elko, Texas
Oh,
Son of a biscuit.
I could see it in your eyes. You saw your boy in the oversized shirt. The defensive mind. I definitely was thinking Texas A&M. You took your boy Mike Elko. I think it's only appropriate that I take my boy Dan Lanning. Give me Oregon. I keep saying he's going to win them one day. Why can't it be this year? Why can't it be this year? Mike Yuva's booing me. His former coach Bob Chesney is facing off against Dan Lanning. You know, Bob Chesney's going to get him one day too. The crowd is chanting SBC. There is conference supremacy here at stake. But give me Dan. All right, Jen, back to you.
All right. How about I'm going to have DeBoer on my team.
Okay.
Oh,
I like
DeVore
it.
on
I like
the
it.
team. So Jen with Indiana and Alabama. Really good slate there. So now Jen will have another pick.
Yeah, I'm struggling on this one. I tell you what, give me Texas Tech.
Oh, I was hoping Texas Tech would fall to me.
I was hoping they was going to get a little further. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I was too. I was really hoping Texas Tech would get to me. Now, you know, is it wise to pick a team whose coach abandoned them and they have an interim head coach for the college football playoff?
Makes them want to fight harder.
Is it wise to pick a head coach who's never coached a game as a head coach before and is making his debut in the college football playoff?
Sure.
Probably not. But I love Trinidad Chambliss. I love that offense. Offense go Burr. Maybe, just maybe, they can get to the game against Georgia and maybe give them a game. But you know what? I'm gonna take Ole Miss before we get blown away here.
Trinidad hasn't. Oh my gosh! There comes a.
I feel like we're on the Weather Channel.
We are live from live for the category 2.
I'm gonna do the walking against the wind. No, all of a sudden there was a tent that looked like it was about to come our way. So sorry about that.
With that being said, I'm gonna go directly against you. Give me the green wave.
Ooh,
early.
Our first
Early.
G5 off the board. Now, it's a win-win for me. If Tulane wins, then I don't do very well in this, but I get 17.5 points in the underdog challenge.
Okay.
This
Okay.
is how I'm hedging my bets here. So Preston will go again for his final team.
And give me, this is a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the U.
The U.
Okay.
Give me the U.
Preston goes with Miami. And
Directly picking against myself, but it's okay.
I did not think I would end up getting 4 teams in before Oklahoma is picked. You know what? Yeah, it's either Oklahoma or James Madison.
Yeah.
Sorry, Yuva. I got to go Oklahoma. I got to go with the Sooners. Maybe defensively, if they force enough turnovers tonight, they get that win right there. Their defense is so good, it's going to keep them in any game. But I've never soured on an offense. Maybe in my career throughout the course of a year that I've soured on Oklahoma and John Mateer.
Okay.
Yippee!
Right.
The sound John Mateer makes anytime he throws a football. Right. It's stuck in my head when I watch him play now, so I hope it's stuck in yours too, which means Jen will have.
I think I'll take James Madison. What do you think?
Yes.
The crowd cheers.
Woo! The crowd is pleased. Jen Jensen has appeased the Sunbelt gods and has taken James Madison. So to recap, Jen has Indiana, Alabama, Texas Tech, in James Madison.
Feeling good.
I've got Georgia, Oregon, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. Preston is rolling with Ohio State, Texas A&M, Tulane, and Miami. I feel pretty good about this.
Yeah, this will be fun.
Which means tonight it'll be me versus Jen.
I love that. We could arm wrestle.
We could arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Which I would not agree to because you would beat me.
You need to keep saying that there's a game tonight because in my mind, I still haven't quite gotten to that idea that there's a big-time game
A college football playoff game tonight. Like, this is a football Friday, capital F for football, capital F for Friday. I wish they did 2 games. That's my thing. If I changed anything, and Mikey was pointing to the stadium, host one here.
Yeah.
Host one here. Make the Myrtle Beach Bowl a college football playoff bowl game.
That would rock.
That would be amazing.
Because, they're playing these things in such large stadiums, too.
Mm-hmm.
How about we compact it and really make it to where we have
crazy.
to make it to where we have to get the fire marshal out here. Can you imagine
that.
how loud it would get in such a smaller, compact space? And how outrageously you could charge for tickets?
I was going to say.
Optics, it would look cool.
It would look really good.
It would look cool.
Can we get it to where there's like a different, like the teal turf too? Keep the teal turf
I like that. I bet Chance would say that's okay to do.
for a college football playoff.
Yeah.
Well, we can just ask him.
Yeah.
See what we can do.
Okay.
How we can
Go
lobby
work on
for
that.
it. But you know what? The one big change I think I'd make to the college football playoff in terms of schedule, have 2 games tonight because they are going to have that go up against Packers Bears on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to go up against any NFL game. I wouldn't want to go up against, Jets Browns, right? I still wouldn't even want to go up against them. But Packers Bears too.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really big game.
No, it is a huge game.
Jen Jensen nervous meter for Packers Bears.
6.
6? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I still feel pretty good about us, but I don't know. Don't love.
Well, you hate to see it, but Micah Parsons won't be chasing Caleb Williams around.
That is true. The
And
defensive boogeyman is gone.
I know everybody's like, we want to beat him at our full capacity.
No, you don't.
No.
No, you don't. It's not the worst thing. It's get well soon, Micah. Yeah, take it easy.
Truly. No.
Don't be on the football field. And I think that game is going to be defined by which Jordan Love shows up. But it will help that the Packers are at home, or not Packers, the Bears are at home.
Yep.
So that'll be a fun one to keep tabs on Saturday night. We'll go ahead and take a break, but when we return, which quarterback in the college football playoff do we trust the most? We'd already drafted our teams, but which quarterbacks are we most willing and to put our faith in to take their team to the promised land? We'll discuss that next.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. You know, we had a lot of demolition that had to be done to take our kitchen down to the studs. Had to replace all of the cabinetry. Was not a fun time for us for sure, but they made the process so much easier. CHW Cabinetry, they're locally owned, a women-owned business in Lexington. They helped us choose everything we needed, got the photorealistic rendering of our kitchen so that we could see what the finished kitchen would look like before it was actually finished, and take that photograph and actually take that to get flooring and all that kind of stuff picked out. But I'll tell you what, they can help you with some smaller projects. When we needed a cabinet and a bathroom, they were able to help us with that as well. You can update your closet. You can create a home office workspace. There's a lot of ways you can utilize the services of CHW Cabinetry. Call them at 803-520-6837. Tell them Jen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Had a bang up at Leesburg Road, at Veterans Road, I-77, Corners Ferry Road, all that comes together there. Got a wreck there. Killian Road at I-77, Farrow Road at Killian Road, 77 North at Saxagotha at the exit ramp there, and Two Notch Road between 20 and 77. That's at Nate's Road. Weather outlook for today: 60 for your high, 61 for your high. Tomorrow, 65 on Sunday, but 53 on Monday. I don't get it. 62 on Tuesday, then rising up to 69 for Christmas Eve, 73 for Christmas Day, and 74 for the day after Christmas. I don't know where Mother Nature's thinking. You tell me. It's supposed to be December, right? It's Christmas. This is Captain Dave in the traffic center.
The college football playoff can be defined by quarterback play. It can make you, it can break you. There are teams in this field that I think quarterback play is the thing that's keeping them maybe from contention. But which quarterbacks do we trust the most and the least in this field? They broke it down on The Athletic, and without much surprise to me, I think it was Antonio Morales who wrote it. I'm trying to pull it up, but a little rain doesn't make my computer work very well. But Fernando Mendoza, I think, was probably the easy choice to me, number one. He's the Heisman Trophy winner. He's probably going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. But is he the quarterback that you trust the most in this entire field, Preston?
When you say he's proven that he can go out there and win in pressure-packed situations, tight games, close games. He's done all of that. So if it came down to that type of situation, you don't mind him having the ball. You can still say the same thing about Julian Sayin, right? Because he's been out there. He's put up in these moments, and he hasn't. It's not his fault that Ohio State hasn't had those type of close games. It's not his fault.
No, it's not.
Right? Because maybe if Carson Beck wouldn't have thrown all those picks, maybe Miami wouldn't have had these types of games. So I would say if I would take my top 2, it would be Fernando and Julian would be my top 2 that I would trust in these moments. Gunner not far behind.
I was going to say, Gunner Stockton got to be higher. Like, I would say top 3, maybe.
I don't distrust Gunner, if that's what that means. Gunner's made the throws, and several times throughout this point in the season, he can run. He hasn't proven himself to do any dumb things with the ball. So I would pick that.
Yeah, I would say Gunner Stockton's 3, and here's why too. You know what told me what that guy's made of? SEC championship game last year. Carson Beck starting the first half. He gets hurt, and it's one of those injuries he's not coming back. I think not a doctor, clearly, but I think I could diagnose that UCL tear as soon as that happened in a game like that, where I'm like, okay, it's Gunner Stockton's going to have to win them the game. And he went out there against Texas in that SEC title game last year and made throws. And it became one of my favorite clips from the college football season last year, where the field mic's picking up the conversation between tight end Lawson Lucky and Gunner Stockton. And he goes, if you believe in you the way I believe in you, we're going to be just fine. And guess what? They went out there and they were just fine. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's been able to make that jump this year. There hasn't been an acclimation period. There hasn't been a learning curve, right? Because he had to go through it. And they lost that Sugar Bowl against Notre Dame that kept them from going to the college football playoff semifinal. And I think he learned from that. You got to get beat up against arguably the best defense in college football last year, learn from it. And this year he's just kind of taken that pathway of being a leader too, and helping them get out of games that normal quarterbacks don't get you out of, like that game at Tennessee where he had to win in a shootout against the Vols on the road in Neyland Stadium, winning a shootout against Ole Miss at home to keep their undefeated season alive, playing that same Texas team he had to play in the SEC title game, and then wearing them out for 4 quarters. I trust that guy almost as much as I would trust Fernando Mendoza or Julian Sand.
All right, so let's go to the distrust side. You got to pick one of them.
Oh, okay.
Carson Beck, John Mateer.
Carson Beck. Or no, in terms of distrust, I distrust John Mateer more. There's a lot of high risk, high reward with Carson Beck in his game. And I can live with that because I know what the upside is. Like, I've seen what really good Carson Beck looks like. And I've seen what the best of John Mateer looks like. And I've seen the worst of both of those guys. And when John Mateer's bad, he's maybe not turning the ball over like Carson Beck would, but that offense becomes so stagnant. He's a little bit shorter, right? There's a lot of YOLO ball that he gets away with. Both guys aren't afraid to put the ball in harm's way. I would have, if I had to choose between one of those two guys to lead my team, I would take Carson Beck because of that element of what his upside is.
Now, I know this is quarterback segment, but I just thought about these two dudes when I think about dudes that are playing. Trust somebody. So if you're doing like throw for your life with the quarterbacks, but now we have sack for your life.
Oh, boy.
R. Mason, Ruben Bain.
Oh, man. You know what? He's not your Mason Thomas. He's not my Mason Thomas. He's our Mason Thomas.
Okay.
And I think I take our Mason Thomas. Ruben Bain's really good, and he's going to be a stud at the next level. But what our Mason Thomas has done for that team this year in terms of just being able to wreak havoc in the backfield, like it won't have like the sack numbers maybe as somebody like a Cassius Howell, but he is in the backfield every single play. Now, if it's a run stop for your life, I take Ruben Bain.
Going back to the quarterbacks, that was just. Thank you for obliging me. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Going back to the
defensive
quarterbacks.
line talk.
Yeah, going back to the quarterbacks. We had these two categories. You had the dudes you trust, the dudes you don't trust. Where does Ty Simpson fall in that?
Oh man, I think I'd put him just above John Mateer, and I put him on par with Carson Beck. I think teams have kind of figured them out a little bit, right? They were even showing on SportsCenter last night when I got to the Airbnb. I turned on the TV and I immediately turned it to ESPN, and they were breaking down that game. And Dan Orlovsky was talking about his evaluation of Ty Simpson, and he said the last 6 games have been a real struggle for him. They showed the side-by-side numbers, completion percentage, and the completion percentage difference is down almost 10%, right? He's thrown significantly more interceptions, like 5 times as many interceptions as he did before that stretch. So touchdown interception ratio goes down. Completion percentage goes down. Yards per game goes down. I think teams have figured out that they're not going to run the ball because they can't. So their refusal to run the ball and their inability to run the ball kind of allows defensive coordinators to get a little more creative with their coverages. And I think Ty Simpson's had a hard time developing a counter punch to that because teams are just playing them differently.
It probably goes back to all that stuff that Kirk Cousins was talking about, right? They can disguise things. They can make it muddy. They can give all these exotic coverages because we're not worried about you running the ball.
Good thing he's not playing a defensive coordinator tonight that is really eager to mix things up when it comes to defenses.
And that's the thing. That's the thing about Brent Venables is that, and why people can't copy him, because he does things in such an unorthodox way.
Yeah.
He doesn't do things the way it's supposed to be drawn up. He'll do things that sometimes are not fundamentally sound, but because he's so good at it, he can dial those things up.
I will say tonight, I think tonight's game between Alabama and Oklahoma is a race to 20. I think first team to get to 20 probably wins.
That's a good thought, actually.
Because I don't trust Oklahoma to move the ball very well on Alabama. I don't trust Alabama to light it up against Oklahoma's defense in Norman.
Did you say there was a party going on tonight? Because that's what I heard when you said that.
Preston Gifford, he goes, race to 20? Will there be drinks included?
RSVP, Preston. I'm there.
Preston is going to show up to this game in a full tuxedo.
I like it.
Glass of champagne in hand.
I like it.
And is going to enjoy every single snap of that football game. It should be fun. Sure. It's not my cup of tea. I might show up in maybe a tuxedo T-shirt, say that I want to be formal, but I'm here to party. Might do that, but there are other games on the slate that might be closer to a race to 40.
Yeah.
Sign me up. The games tonight are going to be winners. Myrtle Beach Bowl is definitely a winner, but we'll give you the rest of our winners brought to you by the Golden Spur coming up next. And on a day like today, our winners, brought to you by the Golden Spur, will come easy. It's a fantastic, beautiful day. The clouds have cleared out. The rain has stopped. It is not a windstorm here anymore. And we're about to play football here in the stadium here in about 2 hours. So, of course, it's brought to you by Integrated Media. They're a winner for helping us put this whole thing on. My Golden Spur winner of the day, Coastal Carolina, for having this bowl game in their backyard, for being able to put on an event like this, be able to host us and hang out with us for a little bit, and Chance Miller for going through his first football coaching search as an athletic director. I'm sure you can breathe a little bit easier now. Chance Miller and the Coastal Carolina winners.
Think of his tenure. I mean, to this point, like what he has done. He's been hosting a bowl game, coaching search, all the things that he's talked about, national championship. I mean, yeah.
There's been a lot going on. So that's going to lead to my winner, Chance Miller, man. Chance is a winner. Yep. He's always been a winner. And it's one of these deals where when you have talented people in your organization, you're like, they're not going to be here long.
Right.
They're going to have to go. They're going to have to go. But obviously you see all the amazing thing that's happening here. I don't think anybody who is familiar with, we see Chance's work every Saturday at Williams-Brice, all the improvements that were made. He was a huge part of that. And so I think everybody is proxy Coastal fans because of the work that Chance has done. So Chance has always been a winner.
I've been here for 10 years. So what does that say about me? They say the talented ones don't stay for long. Okay, maybe I'm not a winner.
They call it institutional memory.
Yes.
That's what we need that.
Yes. Stability.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Keep going with your winners.
Jensen is this station's
I do have another winner as the song is playing. Bill Withers, Lovely Day is playing in the background. It just reminds me, what a great singer-songwriter. Lovely Day, Lean on Me, Grandma's Hands. I can't write left-handed. Bill Withers is the man.
Yeah.
And Lovely Day, you can't not love that song.
Oh, it's a fantastic song. Jensen used to be her alarm. Like, that's like the best alarm song you could have.
It's a good song to wake up to
every single morning. My winner for today's show, another winner, brought to you by the Golden Spur. Funky 2-point conversions because it allowed the Seattle Seahawks to tie the game up last night. That was, I remember, like laying on the couch in the Airbnb, and I sit up and I'm like, wait, that's a backwards pass. Because in real time, you don't think that's a backwards pass. It looks like a run-of-the-mill screen pass attempt that Jared first goes in there and swats down, right? Ball rolls into the end zone. Zach Charbonnet just walking over there, picks it up to hand it to the official, but picks it up in the end zone. So then we're getting ready to do the kickoff. Nobody's thinking about it. And then they're showing the replay, and the replay official or the rules analyst on the Amazon broadcast goes, guys, I think this might be a forward pass or a backwards pass. And they show one angle where Sam Darnold's arm's at like this angle, and the ball clearly goes backwards. And I'm sitting here like, oh my God, this is the weirdest way to ever convert a 2-point conversion. Getting a 2-point conversion on accident. It was one of the weirdest plays you'll ever see, and it set up one of the best finishes to a game that you will see in the NFL all season long.
I'm going to give a winner to non-CFP bowl games. We are at the Myrtle Beach Bowl. I'm watching the band from Western Michigan walk in. I think, no, that's Kennesaw State.
Similar colors.
The band's walking in, the color guard, the cheerleaders, all these fans. These kids are going to talk about this forever. They're going to be like, remember that time we went to Myrtle Beach and played on a teal field?
Yes.
In the Myrtle Beach Bowl? How could you not be romantic about college football?
Right. Like, that's the thing. We get so caught up in who's in the college football playoff, who's not in the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. You know what? It seemed like a lot, not seemed like, it was a lot of fun last year. The Citrus Bowl. So many Gamecock fans were there. It was an awesome Gamecock fan showing, and they're having fun at the tailgate. It's an excuse to go to Orlando, right?
Yeah.
In late December, on New Year's Eve. Gives you New Year's Eve plans. For these kids here in this bowl game, if you're a Western Michigan student, you know what it is there right now? Cold.
Stupid cold.
This is nothing to them.
I know it's like 15 back home in Illinois, so it's got to be colder in Michigan.
Yeah, they get to spend a week before Christmas, hanging out in Myrtle Beach, getting to do all these cool, fun festivities. It's fun for the players, fun for the coaches, fun for the fans. Like, bowl games are supposed to be fun, and I think sometimes in college football, throughout the discourse of it, the whole element of fun and what makes college football so special kind of just gets lost in getting mad about who makes the college football playoff and who doesn't.
I agree. And we're sitting here where there's, part of a fan zone going. All the stuff. We've got some Staying Alive going, some Bee Gees music. Yeah, it's a good time out here. And people are slowly making their way out, a couple hours before kickoff. So it's a good time for everybody.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And, a winner for this weekend, too, football. Hey, we have the bowl game here. You have a college football playoff game tonight. College football playoff all day on Saturday, tomorrow. You have Bears-Packers tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And then a really fun slate of NFL games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not a winner is me because Patrick Mahomes ends up tearing his ACL week before I go see the Chiefs play in person.
You had just
that
finished
wasn't so
saying that.
good.
He's like, I'm going to see Patrick Mahomes. And no, you're not. No, I'm not going to be here.
Buddy of mine called last night. He goes, like my friend I'm going with, because I'm going to Nashville to see some family. He called last night. And he goes, you still want to go to the game even though Patrick Mahomes isn't playing? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I'll watch Gardner Minshew versus Cam Ward. I'll still watch that matchup.
A game is a game.
A game is a game. And that can be the third different NFL stadium I've hung out in this year. So
nice.
That'd be a record for me. Third different one.
That's a winner.
So why not? Why not? We'll make it happen. You guys are winners for listening to us this morning. I can't speak anymore. It's vacation time for your boy.
Signing off.
Proposition. Thanks for hanging out with us in 2025, and we will see you in 2026. It's very apropos that my read for Midstate Roofing is right after our winner segment, because you know why? Midstate Roofing has been a winner in the roofing and waterproofing industry. They've been a winner in the roofing and waterproofing industry for 3 whole decades. My entire lifespan, Midstate Roofing has been proving that they can provide the proper advice, service, and most importantly, the results to the needs of your facility all across the Midlands of South Carolina. It doesn't matter if it's your home, business, or if the building's a high-rise or hospital. Does not matter. They install and have bonded systems that give you that protective guarantee to keep your operation dry and running long into the future. And, on rainy days like today, it'd be a big help to have your building secured with their roof. Midstate Roofing can do that for you. 803-356-1919 is the number to call. You can always hit them up online, too, at midstateroofing.com. But remember, if you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek. At the buzzer, too.